Do you ever look around and think, wow, the world is a crazy place, and it just seems to get crazier and crazier? Ease your mind and take a break. This is Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. We're a hub for inspirational Christian sermons, practical keys for Christian living, and Christian discussions and interviews. You'll be inspired to live the life that you were created for. Your host is a top-ranking podcaster, best-selling author, world record holder, aerospace engineer, life coach, evangelist, and founder of John Giftah International. Welcome to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah.
Hey God, Vishal, it's such a joy for me to be with you today on this segment of the Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah podcast. Since yesterday, we've been doing a little bit of learning from the life of Daniel chapter 1. And today I'm going to talk about another important aspect, because yesterday I told you that even when they did not expect, they were taken as captive. They were from the royal family, the royal circles and nobility, and from there Daniel and his friends and a lot of men from that age group, from that background, were taken as captive and taken into Babylon. And here's the thing, I told you that they did not have like a bad attitude, especially when you look at Daniel and his friends. They had all the reasons to have a bad attitude, to have self-pity, to not go their extra mile, to have this spirit of why should I do this, I just want to get back. Or they could have the complaining spirit. They could have walked with a chip on their shoulder. But if you see Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, they had the spirit of excellence. They walked with integrity. They were 10 times better than the rest of the young men when they were taken in after 3 years of the training. And today I want to talk about one aspect. It might sound like a repetition in one way when I'm talking about it. That's the reason I want to remind you, and I want to take it forward in case you missed yesterday's segment. But I want to also let you know that they did not choose this by their choice. It was pushed on them, you know what I mean? And they had all the reason not to put in their best effort, and they had all the reason to maybe just be complacent, not go the extra mile, have a bad attitude. Maybe they were in depression, they were missing their family. All of these things could be true. Here's the thing, the Bible says, if you look at Daniel chapter 1 verse 5, that they were to be trained for 3 years and then they would enter the king's service. And I was thinking, think about this, like there would have been so many young men, who were trained for the 3 years. And in that process, there could have been many of them who did not put in their best effort, who were always complaining. Maybe they were depressed, they didn't do their job well, they did not go through that training properly. And maybe at the end of 3 years, they, just blew it, or they were not chosen by the king. Maybe they did not perform well in front of the king, or the king did not choose them to serve him in any capacity or whatever. So think about this. They did not choose this, right? Like in a similar way, in your life, there may be areas that you do not choose. You're saying, I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose this course. I didn't want to do this course. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be involved in this, but it was pushed on me. This relationship, I didn't want for this, but then somehow the family convinced me into this, and somehow things just fell in place. Or maybe this course, or maybe this job, whatever it is, you're pushed into something that you're not actually, you put your thought into, or something that you decided because you would have allowed to do it. You would have chosen something else if it was in your hands. But like Daniel and his friends, maybe you were pushed into something that you did not want. A season of training, a season of hardship, a season where things were bleak. Maybe you had to let go of your loved ones, maybe be in an area or a season of training and whatever. Daniel was in a season of training. His friends were in a season where they were trained away from their family. So think about all of this. They were emotionally, they could have felt a lot like, I do not know if I will ever get to see my family again. Or they would have, because they were young men, they grew up with their family, you know what I mean? They will have fresh memories and crying and pain. Because I remember when I had to go to boarding for my aerospace engineering program, I grew up with my family my entire life. So when I went for those 4 years of the engineering program, what happened? every time I used to cry because I miss my family, because I may not be able to spend as much as time as I would. And guess what? Daniel and his friends did not even have the assurance of ever meeting their family again. They were away, they did not have any contact, they were totally in a different kingdom altogether. Everything was like so difficult for them. But even in the midst of all that, they had a spirit of excellence. They went the extra mile. They did not waste the training years, and that's why they were promoted. They kept going higher and higher. If you see Daniel and his friends throughout this chapter, they were constantly promoted and they kept going higher and higher, serving under different kings. So what's my message to you is this: you can look at your area that you're pushed into and complain and have a bad attitude and waste those training years and come out as nothing, or you can use this to push you into your purpose, to propel you into new levels of your destiny.
You've been listening to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. We hope you were blessed and inspired to live the life that God has for you. Make sure to subscribe to the John Giftah YouTube channel for regular uploads of sermons, skits, interviews, and more. Follow John Giftah on Instagram for regular inspirational posts. And don't forget to check out the best-selling books written by John Giftah, Who Am I?, which will help you understand your identity, and the latest #1 bestseller, Unveil Your Purpose, helping you discover your purpose and to start walking in it. Make sure to leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends and loved ones. If you'd like to donate, you can find the PayPal link in the description. And if you'd like to invite John Giftah to speak at your event or to get more details, go to the website at www.johngiftah.com. See you on the next episode of The Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. God bless you.